Hi, my name is Carolyn Service with o2bstampin.com. Today I'd like to introduce you to the new kid in the Stampin' Up neighborhood, Stampin Blendabilities Markers. Blendabilities are alcohol ink markers and are the perfect markers to use for blending and shading. With most markers you get streaks and you can see distinct lines when you color, but not with Blendabilities. Stampin' Up is introducing the Blendabilities in 12 colors, in sets of 3, as well as in a skin tone assortment of 6. So here you can see the 12 different colors that they will be coming out with, as well as the skin tone assortment. And these markers are going to come, the ones that are in sets of 3, will come in a dark, a medium, and a light color. They will have 2 tips that you will be able to see here. There's a little diagram that shows you which tip is which. And there is a chisel end and what I call the brush end. These are sealed very tight because of the fact that they are alcohol based. They can dry out quickly, so you want to listen for a click when you close them so that you know that they are closed tightly and therefore they will not dry out on you. You'll also notice that they're square. This is a great feature because they don't roll off the table when you set them down. Now, the one thing you want to remember is that you don't want to use StazOn to stamp your images when you're using the Blendabilities. Instead, you want to use the Memento ink. This is a water-based ink and it will not bleed or run when you use it with the Blendabilities markers, whereas the StazOn ink will. Also, something else to know is that the tips on the Blendabilities are nylon, so they won't fray out as easy. And I just want to start by showing you how beautiful these markers work. This is a card that I recently made using the Blendabilities, and I'm actually using a hostess set that is in our new 2014-2015 catalog. It's called Bloom with Hope. Very pretty set and really a fun set to work with the Blendabilities markers because you can see there's lots of coloring that you can do with this. So let me get started by showing you how I made this card. You can use our ultra smooth vanilla or I should say whisper white cardstock. Prior, when we might use the regular markers on the whisper white, you might experience some pilling, but you will not with the Blendabilities. In fact, the more ink you use, the better you'll be. So I'm just going to ink this up. You'll just get a lot more vibrant colors than when you use a lot of the ink. I'm just going to put this on the paper and cover that up so I don't put my hand in it. And then I'm going to start with the Cherry Cobbler assortment, and I'm going to start with the darkest color first. Now with the other markers that we carry, the Stampin' Right markers, I found that I very seldom used the small chisel point. I usually always used the paintbrush point, but with these markers I find that totally different. So usually I'm using the small end. Now when you do this, you're going to want to either make like circle motions, like so, or like a sort of a flutter motion, like so. Okay, and I'm just going to go around all the areas that might be more shaded areas on my project. So if you were imagining the light sort of coming down straight from the top of this flower, this might be the shading that you would use. If it was coming, you know, if your light source was coming from one edge or the other, you would want to color this a little bit differently, but for today, we're just going to use this. It's pretty simple. And anybody can sort of copy what I'm doing here. So I'm just sort of going around the dark edges. Again, kind of using just a circular motion. Or back and forth, sort of a little flutter action. Sort of get the idea here. And like I said, this, I'm starting with the darkest. There's not really, I don't think, any rule to that. I know some demonstrators are using the lighter color first, but I like using the darker color first. Now, inside the lid, you're going to see, hopefully you can see, there's a little tube, sort of to say, in there. You want your tip of your marker to go right into that tube. The easiest way to make sure that you're getting it in there right is just to lay them down and slide them into each other and listen for that click. Okay, so then I'm going to take my medium colored marker, and the more color, like I said, that you put on the used with the blendabilities, sort of the better shading that you're going to be able to see. So don't be afraid to, you know, go ahead and use, or color, I should say, a lot. Okay, so with this second color, again, I'm going to sort of make some circular motions, and at the same time I'm going to kind of go over the areas where I've already been. This helps with the shading. I'm just going to bring it down a little bit into the areas where I'm coloring with this color now. I hope that makes sense. So I'm kind of going over the colors where I've already been. That way it'll eliminate the sort of the lines that you see when you're using traditional markers. You just kind of get these sort of streaks and lines in your coloring, but with this, you will not. You'll just have this really pretty blended coloring, and I love it. I love to color anyway, so this is just right up my alley, but I just like the final product. I like how it looks. I love the fact that it is blended. And I want to save a little bit of room for my lightest color, so again, just back and forth over these lines where I already have the darker color so that it can blend in. Okay, then I'm going to take my lightest color, and these are pretty hard to get open. That's on purpose so that your alcohol ink doesn't dry up. If you have arthritis in your hands or you don't have strong hands, a good thing to do would just be to get a little, something similar to what you might use to open a jar, and use that. Okay, so, oh, I've opened actually the paintbrush tip, and I want the other side. Okay, so then I'm just going to fill in this lighter areas, but again, I'm going to be drawing the darker colors into it, so I'm going to actually be blending and kind of just going over the other colors as well and blending them all together. Can you see that? How pretty is that? And you can always go back and, you know, do some extra shading if you want. We also have something called a color lifter, which I will show you a little bit about how you can use that to give it even more dimension. Oh, I just love the way that looks. Isn't that pretty? It just looks so pretty. Okay, now I'm going to do our Daffodil Delight collection to do the center of the flower. And again, with this, we have the dark medium, and light in the daffodil. So I'm going to start with my dark. And I'm going to go around the edges. Okay. This is my medium. And last but not least, I'm going to use the lightest color. Now I kind of want to zoom in here. I want to show you something. Okay, so you can see there, you can see the distinct lines between this lighter color and the darker color. But watch what happens when I bring that darker color from the inside, from the outside into the center. Look at that. So now you no longer have that line, but you still have that pretty shading from light to dark. You can also see that in some of the other colors. And now that I'm zoomed in real nice and close, so let me put the cap on this. One of the things you definitely want to remember is don't leave these uncapped, as they will dry out quickly, and you definitely don't want that. Okay, so I'm using my lightest color. I'm just going to go over this a little bit to try to kind of blend that in just a little bit more. How's that? Pretty. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, now, actually I see one more spot. I just want to go over there a little bit. Okay, so now I am going to use the color lifter. Now I'm going to admit I'm not really understanding all of what you can use the color lifter for, but if you wanted to use a highlight, you wanted to just add more dimension, you can actually use your color lifter to actually pick up a little bit of color. So you see where I just went over that, how it kind of got turned a little lighter shade. So you can also use your color lifter to produce a little bit more shading and therefore more dimension. So how's that look? All right, so let me zoom out again here for a minute. And basically that is how you use the blendabilities. This is the card that I made using that particular flower. Nice, simple, basic card. Now, I have some bad news and some good news. The bad news is the blendability markers are not available to our Stampin' Up! Customers yet. We are hoping to have enough inventory to do that by July or August. The good news is that there is still a way you can get them for yourself now. That would be the same way I was able to get them. They are available now to demonstrators only, but don't despair, because during the month of June you can join my team for just $50. All you have to do is to purchase the discounted starter kit for $50. This includes $55 worth of product of your choice. So you're getting to buy the blendabilities or whatever product that you would like, value at $55. You can pick out anything you want out of the catalog for $55 and you only pay $50. So right away you have a discount, and you also, when you are a demonstrator, you continue to have a 20% discount. And there's details to that I won't go into in this particular video, but you can always email me. I can point you to the direction to find more information, or you can just contact me and I'll give you more information. But with the new catalog just being released, it's easy to find $55 in product of your choice. And you can add the Blendabilities to your kit if you'd like, or you can choose other product. The Blendabilities come in sets of 3, and that set is $11.95, or the skin tone set is a set of 6, and it's $22.95. Now we also offer a $99 kit where you can choose $125 in product of your choice. Now, I've been a demonstrator for 10 years, and I can tell you that Stampin' Up! Is a great company to be involved with. But don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. You're going to love the company and the product that you choose. And if for any reason you don't, there is no obligation. If you have any questions, you can email me at o2bstampin@yahoo.com, and I'll put that on the video so you can see it. And if you want to sign up now, there will be a link also showing on the video. So I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about the Blendabilities, and I hope that you'll get in touch with me if you have any questions about how to get your own set right now rather than waiting for when they are released to the general public. So again, my name is Carolyn Service with O2B Stamping. Have a wonderful day.